inevitable fate for so long.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of God, the most gracious and the most merciful. Welcome to the round table with me, Aisha Khan, where we discuss very thorny and pertinent issues in our society. And of course, today is no exception. The topic of discussion is divorce is on the rise. Is marriage losing its essence? Now, I want to give you a story of a young man and an old man. They were having a conversation. And the young man asked the old man, why are marriages not lasting these days? And the old man said, in my generation, when something was broken, we would fix it. But in your generation, you throw it away. Now, could this be the cause of the high rate of divorce cases? Could impatience be the reason? Could immorality be a reason? Could infidelity be a reason? Could interference from outsiders be a reason? What is the problem? Who is to blame? And what are the solutions? Well, now before I introduce my guest today, I just want to quote from the Daily Nation, 16 September 2019. Data from the Qadhi's office shows that in 8 months of this year, 160 divorce cases have been recorded. Last year, there were 233 divorce cases compared to 244 in 2017. In terms of unions, 2018 saw the Qadhi's court officiate over 1,033 marriages, a rise from 909 in 2017. In Lamu, on the other hand, the divorce rate stands at 60%, with at least 6 out of 10 cases being divorce-related. Now, there is a very big problem there. But to put this into perspective, I have with me Maryam Kibunja, who is a psychologist, and AbdulJabar who is from the Qadhi's Court, Upper Hill, to put things into perspective. Now, AbdulJabar, you are from the Qadhi's Court. Yes. Now, from your judgment, of course not victimizing you, what is not happening?
Wallahi, before answer, first of all, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum
Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen wa salatu salamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen. Yeah, the answer, for me to answer the said question at least, we need to, first of all, to consider the whole issue of divorce from holistic perspective. When you talk about divorce under Islam, yeah, we might have two types of divorces. One, what we call fault-based divorce, where parties, they will appear before the court, blaming one of the parties for failure to uphold the status of the marriage. Then the second part of divorce that at least people need to understand as well, and it might be the reason why we're having a high number of divorces, is the one we call no fault-based divorce, where the parties just appear before the court. See, in Islam, as far as we try to maintain the union, but as well Islam is against restriction of liberty of men and women in a so-called marriage. So at least we need, first of all, to appreciate all this kind of the types of divorces, and then we may know now, we'll deal now to the issues whether matters regarding the fault-based divorce, what are the main reason behind it. But still, a lot of parties appear before the court. Within even a day, they file everything and they appear before the court and tell the court, we just want divorce and we have nothing to do as a court, because our work there is a little up here. You cannot force people to a marriage which, according to them, they believe it is rigged beyond salvage. Yeah.
Just in a day.
Yeah. It's possible. In fact, when you talk about the statistics that you are giving, yes, these are not from Nairobi. If you come to Nairobi, at least I'm sure you will be astonished, because no single day will sit in a court without almost 5 or 6 matters relating to divorce. And from a brief view of it, within this financial year, we have registered almost matters regarding divorce, almost 500. Yes. And the majority of those matters, once it hits the court, it won't come back. So it means it will proceed to the finality. But as much as possible, we normally try as a court to have a kind of, we see, our work is not only just to sit there and we just decree on the dissolution of marriage, but as well as a member of society, we also try to save it as far as possible within our legal mandates. Yeah.
Now, looking at fault-based divorce cases, what are the main causes?
There are various causes, at least can be attributed to the dissolution of marriage. One, from a part of many men. By default, 99% of our litigants are women. Not to say, when we talk about this divorce, we need to see from a perspective where these are only the ones that are coming from the court. What about those which are out here, which are not registered with the court? You know, Islam grants a man a faculty of dissolving the marriage. But reality, when the matters hit the court in this part of the fault-based divorces, we might find many reasons being expectations which are so high, which was never there. Interference from as well family sides. It can be from the man's family side or a woman's family side. Other ones, we have now the rising number of divorces as well for those we can call the tourist husbands, our brothers from abroad. I don't know, it's because of winter, they tend to come here in Kenya. Then they enter into marriage with young ladies. You see, the families, you see, we are so naive when they appear before us. Yeah, these people are from, they have material. So we don't look at the deen part of them, but only material. As long as they are Muslims, so we judge them, we grant them. So majority of matters, in fact, you can say, apart from the normal matters that we are dealing with, these are very unique. People, you cannot even trace them at all. They just come here, they marry, they play with the life of people, then they go. So you see, those are my kind of, so we have like three faults. One, a society-based issues as well. Other issue relates to even the parties to the marriage being the cause of divorce. And lastly, the family interference. Those are three faults that at least we can see marriages breaking on the ground of fault. Yep.
Thank you so much for that. I will also point out what was in that article, and it's fire on social media right now. The women are feeling like they're the ones to blame for everything. But before that, Maryam, you know, you deal with a lot of divorcees, the ladies. What does not happen? What are the things that keep on recurring?
As AbdulJabar has said, this is really a society issue. It is, you cannot say it belongs, this is a problem of this gender, We are all to blame. And it cuts across the board. It's not only within the Muslim community. It is right across the board. The only probably fortunate thing among the Muslims is that you can dissolve a marriage when it's not working for you. For other communities, people are living in very bad marriages because divorce is not as easy as it is in Islam. And I'm thinking myself, probably the easiness of divorce in Islam is what is probably one of the causes, because it's so easy. And then when also we give statistics and we say it's 50%, it's 60%, we make the person who is not yet married know that even if I get married and it doesn't last, I mean, I'll be just another statistic. Yes, I have an option. So it is a societal issue. It is systems have broken down. We have become such an individual community. We used to be very communal, and these are things that are affecting us as individuals. We have stopped looking at marriage as a divine institution, and it is now purely a material institution, an economic uplift. If someone wants to get married, look at all the men. If look at all the men when they come for counseling, they'll tell you the first thing a girl asks you is, what do you do? Where do you work? And even when they go for POSA, that's what the parents want. What do you do? What do you work? What do you drive? And this is how marriage is looked at right now in the society. And I'm saying it's across the board. That's how we're looking at marriage. So our systems are failing as well.
But you know, Maryam, your point where, you know, that is the question that a lot of parents ask. Don't you think they're justified? Because if you have brought up your child in a very, you know, serene area, and now she's going to look forward to marriage, as we know, men are the providers. To what extent is, you know, a family supposed to do their background checks?
Even the man has been brought up by a family.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that the man has come from the bush. He's also been brought up by a family in a serene area, in whatever. And that's the way the economic situation is in the country. Things can be a bit difficult. You will find many boys who have gone to school, they have no jobs. But look, sometimes I tell girls, look at somebody. He might have potential, you know. Look at somebody, he can have potential, because you can get married to somebody who is working and tomorrow there's no, the job goes and it goes completely. So are you going to leave him? So let's look at individuals. Let's look at people for who they are and what they can bring on the table. Yes.
Now, AbdulJabar, I'll come to you. What is the age group of, you know, people who are divorcing? Because a lot of the blame, even from the article, is going to young people, you know, just profiling and victimizing them. Is it just the young people who are divorcing?
Yeah, sure. Reality is that, it concerns young people.
I can see how heavy the topic is for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you only find even parties appearing before the court after just 9 days after the marriage. You'll ask the main reason. What is the main reason? Why are you opting out of the marriage? The reason being articulated to see the lives, our lives, no same as the life of our parent. And even our worldview as young people. It's very different, all about material things. And further, matters regarding peer pressure as well cripple in, and it has taken them away as well. At times even they marry because of the social pressure out there. Being called Abu Zero, Abu ABCD, that you don't have any, your life's just like similar to a life of a dog.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a kind of thing that you see, then you'll be forced by that pressure. Or you see your friends, they married, but you're not married. So that lack of the priorities as well. And they enter into this marriage not knowing that marriage is not bed full of roses. The journey itself require a lot of aspects. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about mawadda, it talks about the love and also the mercy part of it. Without all these ingredients, it means that we are not going anywhere. So our worldview is so different. You see, like, I'll just divorce today, I'll marry today, I'll divorce. After all, as a man, I can go and marry another young lady. That is it. But the reality, from our societal perspective, the patriarchalism in our society tend at least to favor only men, not women. So majority of you see, old men, when they want to marry, they will go after young ladies, isn't it? Young men, when they want to marry, they will still go after. So normally, at least we normally try. You see, a court, we are not counselors there. We only apply facts and on the law on the facts. And when they appear before the last resort, we normally try to tell, to pump some sense in their head regarding whether now you're escorted by your parents. Don't you see that they have been living for almost 30, 40 years? Marriage is all about, it's not about buts and if for young people. It's because within our vocabulary it's but if. I have this kind of view that I want my wife or my husband to live. This is kind of the view that I want him to live. So kind of at least we are losing focus as well. The society itself now, go back to the society itself. Are we being led by our parents? No. Aspect whenever they're coming to court, we normally try, if they want to wait, if they want solemnization order, we used to give them orders that at least you go first of all, attend to premarital counseling. Or at least it will open some sort of unreal thing that they don't see. You see, the moment they appear, the young people, they know about love. They know, they will never find life from a negative perspective as far as marriage is concerned. So it's all about even the society, even the aspect, many young men, but also it trickles down to society itself.
You know, it's interesting how we talk about premarital counseling, but when we go to Malaysia, you know, from the little research that I did, you need to undergo a course, just the way you go to school, you know. Do you think that is something that we should adopt in Kenya?
Not even in Malaysia. Churches today, if you have not done 15 sessions of premarital counseling, they will not officiate that marriage for you.
Wow. So there is a problem with us.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I'm a counselor and I'll tell you what happens. This couple is going to get married, they want to come for premarital counseling, then the girl just comes alone. And I refuse to do premarital counseling to a girl when she's alone, because first and foremost, this girl from socialization, she's been prepared for marriage. by
And
family.
what happens to the boy?
The boy has not been talked to, the boy has
Yeah.
not been prayed for marriage, and then he doesn't want to come for premarital counseling. I one time officiated a premarital counseling for a couple, and after 4 sessions, they called off the wedding. And I got very scared. Yes,
We'll be coming back to that story.
Yes.
We need to take a
Yes.
short break, and
Okay,
we'll be
fine.
coming back to listen
Yes.
to that very interesting
Yes.
story. As you can see out there, there is a problem. It's just not statistics, but it is happening. Now remember, you can contribute to this conversation. That is at Horizon TV Kenya on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Stay tuned.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show. Only on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Tech Tuesday with Yusuf Farah. Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursdays with Maryam Wacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the RoundTable. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon TV.
Repel the thought, for if you don't, it becomes an idea. So repel the idea, for if you don't, it will become a desire. So fight against that desire, for if you don't, it will become a determination and a passion. And if you don't repel that, it will become an action. And if you don't replace it with its opposite, it will become a constant habit. So at that point, it will be difficult for you to change it.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show. Only on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the Sabah Show. This is the Roundtable with me, Aisha Khan. And today the topic of discussion is divorce is on the rise. Is marriage losing its essence? Before we went on the break, Maryam Kibunja brought out a very good point whereby, you know, in Malaysia, we have people before getting married, they need to have a certificate. Just as you go to university to get your degree, it's the same for marriage. Now, Maryam, you were telling us about what is happening. Yeah, premarital counseling.
Premarital counseling. One of the things that I'm going to say, I think the education on premarital counseling is not very appreciated within the Muslim community. Because even when they come, I tell you, the girl comes alone. I mean, I refuse to do premarital counseling to one person. I want to do it, but so that we speak about the realities of marriage. And as I was saying before, I did it, and by the time we got to the 4th session, the couple called off the marriage, and I got very scared. And I said, is this probably why people don't want to come for premarital counseling? Because you get to hear the realities of marriage, of a married life. Yeah. When a girl looks at marriage as the wedding day, it doesn't work. The marriage starts after the wedding night. And we prepare our girls for that wedding night, and it's all whatever, but marriage starts after the wedding night. And when you speak about the realities of marriage to the young couple, they are like,
is this really what
is this really what marriage is all about?
Wow.
And I don't even, as you were talking about sex in a marriage, I don't even think that's what even the young people, that's what they look at as marriage. They have other expectations, especially the girls who are socialized by social media. They have very high expectations of what...
What are these expectations?
that the marriage should look like the soap operas they see on television. And they can't be. They can't be. They can never be. And then we have these young boys, because of individualization.
Yes.
See, individualization.
Yes.
This young man is interested in himself. Just is not interested in himself. And even when he gets a job, he's just a small boy in an office with his car and his toys are the women. The woman becomes his toy. And when she gives birth after 5, 6 births and she does not look the way she looked before, very easy for him to go. Yeah, he takes off.
Interestingly enough, from what you're saying, when we're brought up, you know, the girl is always prepared for marriage.
Yes.
Now, the big question comes in, is marriage just a woman's job? Because they say in a home, the woman is the backbone of the family. What is the role of the man, Abdul-Jabbar?
That is from a societal perspective.
Yes.
What we used to do, but legally it's a bit different. We cannot take, say, Muslim women as a mere flesh of blood. And marriage cannot be restricted on only platonic kind of relationship and only meant specific for procreation. No, it is beyond it. Everyone needs at least to chip in. So what blurs our vision of ideal marriage as our community here in Kenya is due to we find it very hard to draw a line between our customs and what the law requires us to do. Because you'll see, we are so into issues of marriage, to an extent where even you think that marriage is a must in Islam, which we call it wajib ibadah. If you don't do it, you will not get the pleasures of Almighty God. That is not the aspect. We have attached a lot of importance to it. The issue, we need to attach importance, but not to that the scale where we are quitting it with other ibadat, where like you must do it, you must do it. So it's a kind of, the main purpose of it is also to help us, both parties in a marriage, to get pleasures of Allah, because it will help you out in obviating any likelihood of committing sins, meaning that you'll be in a better chance at least to please the Almighty God. This is for both parties. But not, you cannot take women just as chattels. They're just out there for the purpose of us men. That is being selfish and doesn't have any sound reasoning under the law.
Now, when there are failures in a marriage, when things go wrong,
it's always
the woman is blamed. And when there are successes, the man takes the you know, when children have done well and the man
then
takes
you are your
the man
father's
takes
child.
the trophy. Yes,
but
the man
if
takes
you're
the
a failure, you are the mother's child.
Yes,
unfortunately. Now, Maryam, I just want to tap into something where, you know, today in this generation, when parents come to find out that two people have liked each other, it is always, you know, get married in a week's time, you know, that's it. And it's always attached to, I do not want my child to come back pregnant. I do not want my child to be engaged in zina. Now, is marriage just, you know, physical and that's it? Could this be a reason, you know, parents putting so much pressure such that these two get married, yes, but at the end of the day, after a few months, your daughter is back in your house, she's divorced.
The parents have an image to portray. They have an image to keep. And they don't want that image tainted by you going the wrong way. So, because of that, if you are liking a boy, can we marry you off so fast before we start seeing pregnancy and you're not married? So they'll marry you off very fast. Now, the other problem I have with parents is after 5 months, Aisha comes back home with her bags, and, you know, she's told, you know, your bedroom is there, you know. It's like, you know, welcome back home. We also, as parents, are not strict on these issues. When we say now, when you go and work on your marriage. Even, you know, even where we are as parents, we have worked on what we have. And marriage is an effort. Marriage, sincerely, is an effort, and two people need to work on it. So sometimes I think it's just for parents, for their own image and for their own person, so that they can fit in the society, as Nani Isaac is saying, that society says that these people should get married. And we put a lot of emphasis on marriage, especially in Islam.
Just as he said.
Yes, that's what he's saying. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. He's saying we put a lot of emphasis. And yes, when we do put that a lot of emphasis, can you imagine the parent when Aisha Khan is my daughter, she's not married, and she's 30. I have no face. When I go and I'm with other women, and every woman is talking about their daughter.
But what you just said,
Yes.
you know, for example, someone is not married and they're 30.
Yes.
Looking at the high divorce rates,
Yes.
you know, you are thinking my daughter is 30,
Yes.
not married.
Yes.
But what about, do you think we as a society are not looking at the bigger picture? You know, my daughter can be 30 and not married, and there's someone else who is married and they're not happy. They break up in 1 or 2 months.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
this is society. You know how women would rather be in a bad relationship than not be in one at all? That's how parents are. Their daughter would rather be in a bad marriage than not have been married at all. So when they're 30, even when you're being stigmatized as Aisha, I'm also being stigmatized as your mom. Kwani, what's happening? Why can't Maryam get Aisha a husband? I mean, you see, this is the problem of taking these girls to school and so on and so forth.
You just said it.
Yes.
Now, I will come to the stigma. You know, when divorce happens again, it is always the woman who is to blame, you know. And from the article, and I quote, they say the culture of feminism is said to be the cause of divorce, whereby in previous times the woman would be obedient and submissive. Now, isn't a woman allowed to express herself? And if yes, to what extent? AbdulJabar.
Okay, first, the marriage, it requires effort from both sides. And at times, the issue is this. Yeah, we know divorce is sexual evil, but at times it's a necessary one. You cannot wreak the future happiness of parties by forcing them to be in a marriage which it is characterized by shamness. So if we say the marriage failed, then on the ground of the non-fault base, majority of cases before the court, and I needed to be categorically on this. Almost 90% of matters of divorces on the fault-based divorce, it accuses men of the same. So reality, it's all about societal issue. When you come out there, it's only about societal be saying, you see, you did ABCD, but alhamdulillah, under the law we have been provided mechanism where at least we can still redeem the dignity of our sisters. And among ways of the law provided for the court at least, for the society at least to dignify the position of our sister is when they enter into a marriage and the marriage breaks, you see they are required to go through a DAT. Why? Because the societal perspective is that, you see, she had a plan to get married to so and so. She's all after this one. So let's say, for example, you just got a third talaq or the final talaq granted by the court, whereby, you know, you're supposed to go for idat. And the main rationale for idat among them, which people know only two. They say to at least to verify or to ascertain what is in the womb. Second thing, at least to provide a situation whereby a reconciliation at least can allow to go back together. But the last one people don't understand. It's all about the dignity of our sister, society, how we were brought up, even the emergency of Islamic law, just fighting patriarchy in a society. To an extent that at least you'll see women were given more right. They were never allowed to inherit. They were never allowed even to work. They were only reduced to a chattel. Now, look at majority of it as a court, we take a judicial notice on the fact that majority of our ladies, women, fathers, sisters, they are thrown out of house and they are treated as chattel, with a reason or without a reason. A man will just appear and say that I have divorced you. So you and your child don't have a means of sustenance. You don't have a place to call home. So the society will be looking, their perception towards you is so bad. The issue is this: we need as a society to understand, first of all, their role in a marriage is not only one side, and it's not always women to be blamed. In fact, majority of cases out there, it is men who are being blamed. But the issue is it doesn't come out clearly, because it's a male-dominated society, where, according to me, I'll judge you as a woman not as Aisha with a specific characteristics. That's the problem that we go, and it's a societal issue.
It's even a problem when you see a woman driving on the road, you know, she's just a woman.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, we say in Islam that a woman, you know, compliments a man.
Yeah,
and a man
and the reality is this,
woman.
when you see, main reason is that we fail to divorce our cultures from the values of Islam. We fail to do it. And the moment that at least will not be knowing the difference between these two, it means that the problem will even, I'm sure that it will even go beyond our societal setup of today.
Maryam, before we go for the break, you know, in this generation, the 21st century, we find that women are very empowered, yes? And just as the question I asked him about culture and feminism, where a woman is, she is supposed to be submissive, obedient, you know, to what extent is a woman allowed to express her her thoughts when it comes to her opinions? Because looking back, our mother's time, you know, you would be told, keep quiet, this is how men are, you're not supposed to talk, just go with the flow. Now
which generation are we talking about, Aisha? This generation that is told on television every day that what a man can do, a woman can do better. You know, then, you know, education is supposed to conform us to be able to fit in society. But then education comes and empowers the girl as well.
Yes.
Now, in fact, two of the cases that I have dealt with, the men say that the women come into marriage not as complementary spouses, but on a competitive level.
Wow.
So it becomes difficult for a man to play his role, because here is a woman who has come, who's earning her good money, and you know, money is power. Who is earning her good money, and because she earns her good money, now she wants to compete with this man. It's not about him being, you know, the head of the home, and while she submits. And then again, what is to submit? What is submission? Probably Isaac should be able to tell us what submission is when it comes to a woman. Is it just agreeing to everything the man says, or is it for us to bring our heads together, probably agree on something that is comfortable and is fit for the family system that we form? I don't know what submission means.
Amazing. You will tell us what submission means, Ishaq, just right after the break. So we'll be taking a short break. Remember, you can join in this conversation that is at Horizontv Kenya on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Now stay tuned, because we want to find out what exactly does submission mean when it comes to a woman.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Tech Tuesday with Yusuf Farah. Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursdays with Maryam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the RoundTable. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah show, only on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the last segment of the round table. And today, of course, the topic of discussion is divorce on the rise? Is marriage losing its essence? Now, Ishaq, coming to you. What does submission mean when it comes to a woman?
Okay, I think submission, it is twofold. It's two-way. Submission is to stand by your obligations, simple. It doesn't call upon you to lose your rights and many other aspects. Will submission means, will it include performing only domestic or the question, even a legal aspect on it, is you required to clean the dishes or ABCD. Yeah, out there, ulamas, they have not agreed on it. Some, they said, no, you're not required. That is not a legal obligation, but it's a customarily sort of practice that we undertook. So submission need to be taken from an aspect of you just abiding by the obligation as created by the contract of marriage. Simple. Yeah.
Now, Isaac, let me come to this point. The women are empowered today. Do you feel that the girl child has been put on such a pedestal such that the boy child is not ready to man up?
No, the issue, they were empowered many years ago. The people that need to man up is men. Yeah, the reality is they fail to ordain by the standard given by Almighty God. Because the ground of these divorces are negligence at times, desertion. You just marry here, you go abroad for 20 years, 30 years without taking into account the needs of the other party, even your companionship. So it is not only that we need an era of generation awakeness within the confines of Islamic injunctions, at least to tell the society, at least these ones, it lies with us, not all about a specific gender. But men, we are at fault. In majority of cases, we are at fault. Yeah, we normally have cases whereby women are at fault. But in majority of cases, we are talking from a practical aspect of it, we are at fault. Where are we heading? Calling us al-rijalu qawwamuna ala nisa. As a man, will you just be appearing before the court or be a cause of disintegration of your family, whereby you have a societal perception that children are chattel to their father. And when you ask for divorce from your husband on a ground of a fault, out of court, among the conditions that you're being given even before the court, that at least say, okay, then you'll give me my children. So you ask a question, whose child? Is it only sired by one mate? No. So at least we need also to see men also, they need to man up, and also our sisters, they also need at least also to man up to some extent. At least there's expectation that to women up. Yeah, that is
well,
it. Yeah.
Maryam, I'll come to you.
Yeah.
You know, you find that a lot of women are stuck in their marriages today because they say, you know, I'm here because of my kids. That is what we have learned from our mothers and, you know, our grandmothers, that we must survive in this marriage because of the kids. What do you have to say about that?
Well, sometimes it's true. They're there because of the kids. And I'm speaking from a personal experience with my mother. And but in the process, the children are broken because every child deserves a happy mother. Every child. And you have these mothers who are so lonely in their marriages, who are so broken in their marriages, and this trickles down to the children. When it comes to divorce, and probably just want to ask Isaac something, when it comes to divorce and how easy sometimes I feel that divorce is for the Muslims, I don't know whether we need to rethink. Isaac, do you think that probably we need to rethink in the Catholic court, we need to rethink the Marital Property Act, if there's something like that? Because I've seen women walking out of a marriage of more than 10 years, like they came in like that, just like that, because they did not physically contribute to whatever is in the home. And that's it's a very sad case. Yeah, sure. And I've seen women actually now going to the other court so that they can be able to, you know, to get something out of this
marriage.
Out of this marriage. The effects of divorce on a woman.
The psychological
effects on the woman is there's a lot of pain, a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment, a lot of stigma, a lot of conflict within, she doesn't know what is the next step. And you can imagine that's a kind of pain and emotions that we have walking within the Muslim community, because we have very many divorced women. I call divorce a death without a funeral. Yes.
Answering your question.
Yes.
some issues. You see, as a court, we're only entitled to grant orders which are they're sorted by party. If you sort order, the court will only grant you the said order. But the problem that now we are facing is that, you see, if you appear before me and you haven't invoked any prayer, that you want the court at least to provide you with ABCD, it is very hard for the court to do so. And the question whether Islam sanctions the right, in fact, the right of women provided in the Islamic law, it is far beyond what we have. Because for the other courts, the issue of matrimonial property came around, is it 18th century? Ours we had 1500 years ago, outlined there. The right out there. But the aspects only parties to know what they want before the court, and indeed they will be granted within the confines of Islamic law. And also to add on aspect of parties being on marriage because of the account of children, even men are there as well. There are some men there. Yeah, in the marriage because of children. Yeah, because of children. So it cuts across. And we say public policy will require to maintain marriage. In fact, where the children are involved, because it's in their interest, their best interest. Because you see, the moment there's a divorce is like a ring, where the children will be caught up in this ring. Parties here, father and mother, they will try at least to get a chance for, they call it a kick-what, a chance at least to blow the other one down. But you see, within these children are staggering within this ring, and they will get lifetime bruises. You see, the effect of divorce on children is very high. So majority of our mothers, majority of our fathers out there, they have sacrificed their life for the interest of these children. So that the moment, you see, the children are seeing they have father and mother, but to them, it affects their the quality of their lives as adults. If that thing doesn't trickle down to these children, because the children will be asking, bona mama leo umekasirika, leo baba bona umekasirika, but ikiwa utaamua kuambia mtoto ile ukweli, itakuwa ni pale umemhusisha kwa ile shida. But if the reality is that at least you will place a barrier between your problem and the issue of the children, it's better. It's better, yeah.
Now there's a comment coming in, Maryam. You know, there's a man who is saying he has been married for 9 years with his wife. He's happily married, but he wants to bring in another woman in his life. And he wants to take consent from his first wife, but she has told him that if you go ahead and get married to another woman, I will divorce you. What should this man do?
Now, that's the other problem, and Isaac knows that is a problem in the Qadhi's court, is when now the men marry secretly. The woman has said, you can't do it, and he really wants to do it. You can't stop him. Then he decides, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it secretly. That becomes another issue, because when she's divorced and it's a secret marriage, now that becomes another issue because she doesn't want to bring it to the open because it was an agreement between them. Now, this is really a personal decision. I can't tell him what to do. It's really a personal decision. He's the one who knows his wife. He's the one who knows what he wants the other second wife for. And I think he keeps talking to his wife and see if she will agree. But I don't think she would. No woman, very few women accept. Yes. And I don't know whether that's what's pushing our men to have secret marriages. I don't know, because they are on the increase. Thank you.
The priority is that at least you are entering those marriage as a result of uplifting the life of others. Very okay. But with the selfish, with the kind of selfish that I just want because I'm a man, I'm allowed to marry more than one. Ask yourself if you have a genuine reason why you are going into that marriage. If you lack that genuineness, it is better to stick to one. Because the issue is this, you'll appear before the court. Even if you're a good man, then she will provoke no fault-based divorce, and you have nothing you have no control over her. That is it. So it's a personal choice here, but ought to be informed by a real reason, not an aspect of rijal. We have a right to marry 2, 3. No, that need to be within the confines of the law. Or else you'll appear, some of them they'll appear before the court, fail to provide for their children from the first marriage. Then the first justification or defense they are giving the court is that, you see, I am married to another wife. That is not must. The priority here is the wajib on your part, the obligation is to provide for this minor. But you going to marry another wife is never an obligation. So we need, first of all, to be sincere. And I'm sure if the man is sincere about what he wants to do, I'm sure even Allah will open it up for him. But if he's not sincere, he'll not blame anyone.
My brother has got the message out there. So, you know, Maryam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates divorce. But to what extent is a couple, you know, supposed to cling on to this relationship that they feel is breaking off?
Alhamdulillah that we have that option. We have that provision within the Muslim community that when things become so bad, you can actually call it off. Because as I said, I have seen people from other communities where divorce is not allowed. People living in very bad marriages, very, very bad marriages. And I think as long as now that you can no longer be emotionally connected, you can no longer respect each other, you start despising each other, I think it's okay to call it off at that point. Yes, and I think Isaac should be able to add on to that one.
As long as it's practicable, possible, yeah, at least you can salvage some issues which can be seen from not a subjective point, but from an objective assessment. At times they will appear before the court with no any reason. We just want to part, all of them. So as a court, at times, many people, they do point courts. We are cause of granting a lot of divorces. At times even you fear praying next to a person who was before you in court, you see.
They see and they say, you broke my marriage.
You broke the marriage, you broke the marriage. But the reality is this one. Our work there is not to break marriage. Work there, we are there as a last resort. And we normally try as well, as much as possible, but people don't talk about it. We normally refer people for counseling. We normally refer people at least because litigation is never an ultimate truth-finding mechanism. Even from the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He said, 2 of you will appear before me. One, eloquent, you know how to present your case. At the long run, I'll give you what's not for you. Yeah, but know that I'm cutting a part of fire to you, do that kind of thing. And also we have been trying as a court as well to go by dispelling people, at least to agree out of court settlement, because it's better for them than when they appear before court and the court will make a ruling on it. It's more of what we call gambling with truth, with justice. And the problem is men, matter before the court. At times they will not appear before the court at all. So what will they expect us? Whatever the other party will state, it will go on record unchallenged. And the court will never be stopped from pronouncing itself on unchallenged fact. So it's all about, we need at least to be on marriage as far as, to maintain the ties as far as impracticable. But you should not be in there when the home is turned into hell. It is better to rig it.
Now, Maryam, coming to you, you know, we just said that if somebody is not happy, they should step out. But again, there's a lot of stigma revolving around women who are divorced. You know, that is a fact on the table. Now, what would you tell divorced women out there? I want a message of hope to them.
They belong to a community where you can get married again. At least that's one hope for them. But I want them to know that if they tried, they tried. If and women will try, especially when they're children. When they're children, a woman, if you see a woman living, she's really been pushed against the wall. When they're children, a woman really, really tries to stay and stick together and keep the family together. So when they opt for divorce, or when they are divorced, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. And if they ask for the divorce, it's because probably they cannot take it anymore. But there's hope out there that they're still them, and they can still get married again if they so wish. But I know the stigma. I know the stigma of being a divorced woman, because if today, Aisha, you're divorced and Isaac is divorced, believe me, people will be pointing fingers at you more than they would at Isaac. Even nobody will even know Isaac is divorced, by the way. We'll just be saying that, you know,
he can get another wife
the next day. And that's how you see. We also don't want to rush into another relationship after a divorce. We take our time as we process what we went through probably before we can make up that decision again to have another person in our lives to take care of the children that we have. Yeah, it becomes a bit complicated.
Amazing. Ishaq, your final words.
Message out there for our sisters. Behind every divorced woman is a divorced man. So it is 1-1 or 2-2. So inshallah, it's all about the life, and they should not feel humiliated because they are in that status. And I encourage men, if they are so serious about they want to do sunnah, they marry the divorcee and the widow. They marry the divorcee and the widow. And they say the main reason why I'm here is to fill the gap that my brother left. if it's a deceased, or at least to bring some sort of happiness to the life of our sister, than going out there looking for young ladies, young women. We leave those young women for young men. Yeah, that is it.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for gracing this show. And to wrap it up, he just said it. We leave those young sisters for the young men. Now, there's nothing new under the sun, you know, be it a toxic relationship, be it a fairy tale wedding, or be it stubborn kids. Life is a gift and situations happen. Gloom or doom, we should make this life count. I've been your host, Aisha Khan, and this has been the Round Table, where we discuss very thorny and pertinent issues in our society.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Tech Tuesday with Yusuf Farah. Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursdays with Maryam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the Round Table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah show only on Horizon TV.
Repel the thought, for if you don't, it becomes an idea. So repel the idea, for if you don't, it will become a desire. So fight against that desire, for if you don't, it will become a determination and a passion. And if you don't repel that, it will become an action. And if you don't replace it with its opposite, it will become a constant habit. So at that point, it will be difficult for you to change it.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. You're watching Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. وبه نستعين على أمور الدنيا والدين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Tunaendelea na tafsir ya suratul An'am. Aya ya mwisho katika darasa yetu ya wiki ilikuwa ni aya ya 69. Allah tabaraka wa taala asema, wa idha ra'aita alladhina yakhuduna fi ayatina, ukiona wale wanayozungumza vibaya juu ya aya zetu, fa'arid anhum, wapuze na wawache, hatta yakhudhu fi hadithin ghairi, mpaka wazungumze mazungumzo mengine yasiyokuwa ni kuzungumza vibaya dini ya Allah tabaraka wa taala. Aya hii ahibati fillah inazungumzia juu ya wale ambao wanafanya ta'ni na kufanya istihza na kuzungumza juu ya dini na kuikadhibisha kitabu ya Allah tabaraka wa taala. Na pia wengine wote ambao wanaitaja kwa ubaya ama kukosea adabu dini ya Allah, hata kama ni kuzungumza vibaya juu ya sha'air dinillah, alama miongoni mwa alama ya dini ya Allah tabaraka wa taala. Kuna wakati wanafiq wamezungumza juu ya masahaba vibaya, wakasema kuwa hawa ni aktharu butunan, ni watu ambao wana tabia ya kula, kujaza matumbo yao. Kwa hivyo wakawa wanawazungumza kama kwamba wao ni watu ambao wana tamaa ya kula tu. Sasa haya yamemuudhi Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Wamesema ni walaji na ni waoga. Ikateremka aya kwa ajili ya hiyo mazungumzo. Allah tabaraka wa taala akasema, qul abillahi wa ayatihi wa rasulihi kuntum tastahzi'un, waambie mnazungumza mnafanya istihzai juu ya Mwenyezi Mungu na mtume wake na ishara zake. La ta'tadhiru qad kafartum ba'da imanikum, msitowe udhur ilhali ya kuwa tayari nyinyi mumekufuru baada ya kuamini. Yani mazungumzo yenu na maneno yenu yanawatoa katika iman na kuwapeleka katika kufru. Kwa hivyo kuzungumza vibaya juu ya dini ya Mwenyezi Mungu kwa namna yoyote ni jambo ambalo kwamba limekatazwa na Allah tabaraka wa taala,